If you are struggling to make your first $100,000, you're not alone. Most millionaires, entrepreneurs, and even legendary investor Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's right hand, say it's the toughest challenge. But the good news is that your first $200K and even your first million will come way easier. And maybe it blows your mind, but reaching $1 million from $100,000 is actually easier than hitting that first $100K mark. Because you don't have to work 10 times harder. Leverage, compounding, experience, skills, and mindset all play a crucial role. Think of your first $100,000 like the fulcrum of a lever. Once you've reached this point, you can leverage it to create wealth on a much larger scale with less effort. Fulcrums are typically pyramids, and you only need to focus on 3 aspects to build yours. If your pyramid has the 3 keys, your success is guaranteed. If it doesn't, your failure is also guaranteed. Or you'll hit the $100,000 mark way slower. And now, you are going to learn the 3 game-changing aspects that will help you fast-track your path to making your first $100,000 as quickly as possible. But hold on a second. We need to understand why it's so difficult to earn that first $100,000 before we reveal the secrets to overcoming the challenge. You know, the reality is that most people won't make it to the $100,000 club. Mainly because they never set that as their target. And even the ones who do, a good chunk of them never get off the starting line. The first step is always the toughest in any journey, and reaching your first $100,000 is no exception. However, you're already ahead of most people by watching this video, proving your dedication to achieving your goal by researching and learning. But let's be honest, the path to the first $100,000 is a tough one, even for those committed to the goal. The reasons are clear. We all start from zero, lack high-income skills, trade our time for money. We don't have our money working for us, often see minimal results from our efforts, and commonly waste the little money we have. Your most urgent and important goal right now is boosting your income by developing high-income skills. This is essential because it's the most time-consuming aspect, the hardest to master, and it'll make the biggest difference in your financial life right away. It's critical to prioritize skills over activities. If you want to run a successful business or thrive in trading, you need the proper skill set. Many people fail because they jump into activities without fully understanding them or lacking the required skills. When picking high-income skills, always consider your natural talents. Select a skill where you naturally excel, as this will make your journey easier and give you a competitive edge over others working on the same skill. And something very important, you must consider skills with high demand, as these are typically the ones that offer the highest compensation. Elon Musk famously said, "You get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of problems you solve." So, to reach $100,000, you must aim for $1 million opportunities. If you only pursue $100,000 opportunities, you'll likely fall short of your goal. And besides that, I don't think you wanted to stop at $100K. And there's something else. When you start thinking about scoring $1 million, you'll find your whole way of thinking begins to shift, and you will start thinking about how to make money in new ways, since selling hours for dollars isn't enough anymore. And that's exactly what you need, a big mindset shift. If you are going to learn a new skill, why would you pick a skill that brings you $100,000 instead of one that brings you $1 million? You could start a business, acquire certifications for a job promotion, or take advantage of AI disruption by helping companies implement AI solutions. The opportunities are endless. Just focus on your natural abilities, in-demand skills, and those with the greatest long-term earning potential. Be realistic and objective. It wouldn't be a smart move for a doctor to leave his $300,000 salary to start his own business if he doesn't know anything about advertising, sales, or accounting. And I know Ronaldo makes hundreds of millions of dollars, and I would love to make that much money too. But I know my chances of being at his level are less than 0. Think of your journey as a skill-stacking game. You're constantly gaining skills, increasing your value. And what about the failures? They're not failures. They're just part of the lesson plan to get you where you want to go. It's okay if you didn't pull in $100K in your first year. You've got the fundamental skills down, which brought you a solid $50K. And guess what? Your base earnings will keep climbing as you keep learning and growing, and you won't drop below $50K. All you need to do is keep on learning until your minimum is $100K. But how quickly do you get there? Well, that's all about how much work you put in. Here's the deal. It's impossible to be both hustling and broke. If you're hustling, the cash should be flowing. And if you're broke, you're not hustling, which means you've got time. If you feel like you're hustling but still broke, I bet you're losing a lot of precious time. The second key element of your $100,000 pyramid is avoiding lifestyle inflation. This is the biggest trap for the middle class and is the reason why most entrepreneurs never really grow their businesses. Did you know that Jeff Bezos was driving an old car at $10 billion net worth? He wasn't fooled by the lifestyle inflation trap. I'm sure you know someone who has a business or is making good money and spends most of it on cars and trips to flex on social media. This is called lifestyle inflation, which is increasing your expenses as your income grows. You know, if someone got promoted at work, the next month, he moves to a bigger house, gets a new car, and is having dinner out in more expensive restaurants. Unlike most people think, the reality is that this person didn't increase his wealth at all, since he isn't saving anything despite having a bigger income. It's no surprise then that 1/3 of Americans who make at least $250,000 say they live paycheck to paycheck. On your road to your first $100,000, you must decrease your personal expenses as much as possible. Avoid unnecessary expenses, regardless of your income. Most people view $100 as just $100 because they don't understand how money works. If they did, they would know that $100 today will be $673 in 20 years. Of course, $100 isn't a mountain of cash, but the routine of consistently saving $100 across different areas is what really makes a difference over time. And even if your current income is not high, the discipline of saving can work wonders on your net worth. Think about two guys. One is making $100,000 a year, and the other one is making $80,000. Guy A loves spending and saves only $5,000 every year, but Guy B manages to save $10,000 in the same period. Who will hit the $100,000 mark faster? When dealing with saving and investing, maximizing the difference between your overall income and total expenses is crucial. And this spare cash should be invested. If you find it tough to save or feel you're blowing too much money, turn to apps that track your expenses. This can provide insight into where your money goes and help reduce unnecessary spending. In my experience, I realized I was blowing too much money on club nights. I want to be crystal clear. It doesn't matter how much you are taking home. If you are not saving as much as possible, you will be trapped in the rat race unless you learn the discipline of saving. And you must save as much money as possible to invest and reinvest it over and over again, which brings us to the third and final key element of your $100,000 pyramid: investing. The whole point of reaching the $100,000 mark is having leverage. In other words, to make money work for you and to create the snowball of compounding. Compounding is one of the most powerful forces in finance. Think of it as a tree that grows money. You plant a seed, your initial investment, and as the tree grows, it produces fruit, interest, or returns. The fruit falls to the ground, and new trees grow, producing even more fruit. This cycle continues, and your money keeps multiplying. That's why it's so important to plant the first seed as soon as possible. The idea of investing often seems of less importance and constantly gets moved down the list, and in a blink, you're left wondering about your retirement scenario. The first move in getting your initial $100K is to get started with a lower sum, let's say $500, and build strong investing habits right from the start. The first investment must be on yourself. You should be allocating resources to increase your skill set. Keep in mind the first key point. If you have a business, you should be reinvesting the maximum amount of money possible back into your business. Maybe now you understand why Bezos is one of the richest men in the world and now is launching rockets. Because he made a smart decision and kept his old car, unlike the average person who squanders his business profits on fancy cars. Don't forget that you shouldn't eat the fruits of your money tree, let them multiply. Maybe you prefer investing in stocks or real estate. There are plenty of options, and keep this in mind, the habit is more important than the amount. If you are into real estate but can't buy properties now, you can invest in dividend-paying rights, which will bring you income even for small amounts. You will develop new habits. Instead of wasting time on Netflix, you'll be learning new things on YouTube. Instead of watching car videos, you'll be studying stocks and the best places to grow your money. Over time, The snowball you create will be so big that you'll be surprised by how fast your money grows. That's why getting to the $1 million from $100K is easier than getting to your first $100,000. Because you already have the leverage, habits, discipline, and skills to make money faster. As you can see, these are the 3 core elements to making your first $100,000. They complement each other, and you won't make it if one is missing. And they are also like a cycle. You have to find ways to bring more money, decrease your expenses, and use that money to create more money. The faster and more volume you can add to the cycle, the faster you will have $100,000. I don't suggest you thinking about how long will it take you to get there for a number of reasons. First, it can make you feel like things are going to take too long or happen way too fast. Second, when people try making such calculations, they assume everything is static. They assume X amount of income, X amount of yearly growth, and since things in life change a lot, those calculations tend to be wrong. And the most important reason, those calculations are useless for your goal. You need to focus on developing skills, discipline, and on making things happen instead of taking a passive role and waiting for something to happen. The process won't be easy, but it's not impossible. Everything you need is working on yourself, and money will come before you know it.